Lesson 3, tone in nonfiction. So our goal for today is to be able to identify and analyze how authors deal with tone in nonfiction texts. And a lot of times that can lead to clear bias. Let's check it out. All right, so Neuralink wants to get inside your head. So let's read this. I learned about Neuralink from a research project that a student did last year. So let's figure out what Neuralink is. It was Elon Musk's craziest pitch yet. He wanted to implant devices in our brains to read our thoughts and the future of humanity. He said depended on it. Crazier still, the secretive startup he launched to execute the mission has made huge strides. Why Neuralink inspires hopes and fears. At first glance, the video is impressive. A monkey plays the classic Atari game Pong, using only its mind. Its mental commands wirelessly transmitted to a computer. By the way, that is on your mixed media option list, so if you'd like to see that, that is there. Uploaded to YouTube on April 8th, 2021, it has been viewed 5.7 million times and received some 120,000 likes. Among those who really like the clip is Elon Musk. That's not just because monkey mind pong is the kind of sci-fi stuff that gets Musk jazzed. It's because that monkey is named Pager. The video's narrator tells us it's Musk's monkey, or rather, Pager belongs to Neuralink, a company Musk founded in 2016. Neuralink is dedicated to developing a device that, once implanted in the human brain, would allow a computer to translate a person's thought into action, eventually allowing the individual to do anything we can do today through typing, pressing buttons, or manipulating a mouse or joystick, by simply thinking about the desired result instead. It would also, Musk says, allow information to be beamed from a computer back into the brain. Musk has said that in the future we'll all need such brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, and that's the only way to keep up. I don't know, it sounds pretty sus to me. All right, so let's take a look and see how this author's tone influences the meaning of this. So if we look at some of the word choice here, we've got craziest, crazier still, hopes, fears, sci-fi stuff, jazzed, impressive. What tone do you get from this author? Do you think he agrees with Neuralink or is believing in it, or does he seem kind of a skeptic? From the word choice here, we even have some alliteration I forgot to highlight, secretive startup, right? So here we kind of get the idea he's a bit skeptical, right? And that perspective adds an element of bias to it, right? He's not 100% sold on this idea. And we can also tell that he is not writing to a professional audience, but he is writing to the general population because his language is very informal, right? Sci-fi stuff, jazzed, craziest pitch yet. So he's using a lot of slang and informal language to address his audience. So by addressing a general audience and using the skeptical tone, he's really feeding us that same skepticism instead of optimism. So I wonder how Elon would feel about that. All right, let's read another passage of it. Boop. Here we go, a little bit more. And if you want to read this article in full, it is on your list on the course unit overview page. All right, with rapidly advancing artificial intelligence, we'll be able to merge with machines, cyborg style. Sounds great. If that sounds bonkers, well, it is. This is Elon Musk we're talking about, the guy who's done more than anyone else to make electric cars a reality, the guy who regularly blasts rockets into space carrying both satellites and astronauts, and then safely lands the booster stages back on Earth vertically so they can be reused. Musk has a reputation for accomplishing engineering feats that others believe are technically improbable and turning them to revenue-generating businesses. But Musk also has a reputation for overhyping his technologies and missing promised timelines. See full self-driving and production targets. To many who work in neuroscience and rehabilitative medicine, much of what Musk says about Neuralink rings alarm bells that he is exaggerating what the technology can do. In 2019, Musk said that he saw Neuralink's goal as to not just treating but curing brain diseases and disorders. James Wu, a neuroscientist and technologist, recently tweeted that he was dismayed at the attention lavished on the company. He used an asterisk, presumably to avoid tangling with Musk fans after searching for the name. Neuralink is pouring funding only into implants that realistically would never be used by the average patient with disabilities in the absence of structural changes to our healthcare system, he wrote. Can Neuralink deliver on Musk's grandiose promises? All right, still a little bit of skepticism here, but then a little cause for alarm from some researchers. So here, cyborg style, bonkers, the guy who. So here, just referencing him as the guy who and using that repetitive parallel structure is called anaphora. Overhyping. So these words in these sentence structures really highlight that skepticism. And then over here in green, we have a different kind of tone, a worried tone, right? Alarm bells. Exaggerating, dismayed, will never be used by the average patient. So it'll most likely cost too much for the people who really need it to access it. And then grandiose promises. So here you can see how authors of nonfiction can persuade their own agenda or their own ideas by the tone they take on. All right, we will stop here and move on to our next passage.